Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to Manful Yoga. This workout is called Hips and Twist. And the reason why I'm making this is because most of us, when we're being inactive, we tend to get really tight in the hips and we don't do a lot of twisting of the spine. So we're going to do both those things in today's workout. You're going to need a block and a towel if you don't like putting your knees on the ground. And we're also going to be using a strap. So let's get started. We're going to start on the ground, and we're going to do some child pose sit-backs to start. Your knees are going to go wide, big toes are going to touch. You're going to start your hands under your shoulders and leaning your hips slightly forward. So what we're doing with this exercise is recreating what you would do in a squat with your spine without the core strength or without the leg strength. So we're just going to start here, inhaling, and then exhale and shift your hips back, keeping your chest long, keeping your spine as straight as possible. And then inhaling back. And then exhaling your hips toward your heels again, keeping your chest upright, tightening the abs, feeling that stretch in the hips. And inhaling forward, back to the starting point, exhaling back. So we're just going to do about 10 of these on your own pace. And the goal here is starting to stretch your spine and starting to get your core active. Just a different tool in our, or a different trick in our tool bag you can use to help warm up your spine, to warm up your body, as opposed to a cat-cow or maybe an ab exercise that we would usually do. Just keeping it fresh. And then as you're sitting back, as you're leaning your hips toward your heels, it's really important to tighten your abs as much as possible and keep length through your torso. So I'm keeping my chest facing upright. I'm not letting my chest go down. I'm not sinking back into a child's pose and looking back behind me, but again, keeping the chest upright, trying to keep your abs as long as possible, and using the exhale to work deeper into this. You're also going to feel a stretch through your ankles. So you're trying to press the tops of your ankles toward the ground to help open up your ankles, especially if you've been sitting or inactive. You most likely have not been doing any plantar flexion or pointing your toes. A couple more. Keeping your chest upright, looking forward, sinking back. One more. All right. And then let's go ahead and come to a tabletop position. Do a couple cat-cows just to get your spine a little warmer. We're going to squeeze the knees toward one another, pulling your head toward your hips as you exhale. Inhaling to pull your chest forward, lengthening your spine, looking slightly up, and exhaling to round. Abs stay tight, stretching through the upper back, pushing your upper back toward the ceiling. And again, inhaling to arch. Arms squeeze toward one another, knees squeeze toward one another. Make sure you're lengthening through your upper back. No crunching through the neck. And exhaling to round. 2 more of these. Again, keeping active through your whole body. So again, arms squeezing toward one another, knees squeezing toward one another. Knees squeezing toward one another is going to help you engage your adductors, your inner thighs. And that's going to help you engage your abs, which is going to protect your spine. Last one. And round. All right. Let's get into a lunge. So we're going to go right leg forward. Left knee stays back. Lift your left knee off the ground just slightly. Just hover it for 5 seconds. Get the weight into your right hip. Keep your chest upright, shoulders stacked on the hips, and then sink the knee down. Now, this is where the towel comes in. If you don't like your knee on the ground, just get the towel and place that right under your knee. I also know some people don't like to untuck their back foot here, or they can't rest their foot like this. So you can also use a towel back there if you want that extra support for the ankle. So you'll kind of develop these things. You might figure these out on your own, but if you do have ankle discomfort back there with the toe untucked, you can do that. Or again, if there's knee discomfort, you can put the towel under your knee to protect the kneecap. Especially as you're recovering from a knee injury, the knee is going to be sensitive. All right, now, In the lunge, we want to work on opening up the hip. So I'm going to have you really push your hips forward, feel this deep stretch through the front of your left hip, at the same time pushing down through your right hip to feel your right hip engage. We're keeping the chest upright, so your shoulders are stacked on top of your hips. You're staying nice and open through the chest, and then using your exhale to sink forward, not at the expense of your lower back. So if you feel like you're sinking forward and you're starting to feel pinching in your spine, bring it back up a little bit. Make sure the weight is in your core, it's in your hips, not in your back. And then use the exhale, sink a little bit forward again. We're going to do about 3 more breaths here, just warming up the hips, getting both the glute active, right? So pressing down to my right heel, getting my right glute active, but also getting my left hip opened up. It also helps to squeeze your left leg in toward the middle, so just lightly pulling the knee and the ankle, everything squeezing in toward the inside. And that's going to help you get a better stretch through the front of the left hip, but also get your left inner thighs engaged. One more breath here. All right, and then we'll switch sides. So again, if you want to use that towel, the towel goes under the knee, or if you want to put the towel under the ankle, just for a little extra ankle support, make sure you ball it up nice and small, so you can actually rest on it, and then you can get that extra support for your ankle. All right, let's start with the hips coming forward. And your strategy for getting your body to open up is not pushing to your extreme range of motion as soon as we start the exercise. You want to find a spot that is manageable. So we want to find a spot where you're, okay, I can manage this, I can hold this for about 60 seconds. And then from there, we want to work deeper using the breath. So I've got a spot that I can handle right now. I'm going to take a deep breath in. And then I'm going to exhale and sink forward. Maybe an inch, maybe even less than that, maybe half an inch, maybe a centimeter. Now as I'm sinking forward, I want to keep my shoulders stacked on my hips. So I'm not allowing my hips to go so far forward that my back arches like this, because I'm going to have some pinching in my lower back. So I want to keep my abs tight. I want to keep my chest upright, my shoulders stacked on top of the hips. Anywhere my hips go, my shoulders go. I also want to make sure that I'm not leaning far forward like this. And if I lean forward, that's actually going to shorten my hip flexor. So I want to stay upright. Now I'm also putting my weight in my left heel, so pushing down hard through the left heel. We didn't do this at the beginning, but if you want, you can tuck your back toes and then lift the right knee up, and you'll feel that weight shift into your left hip. That's what we want here. You're going to feel a nice deep stretch to the right hip, and then slowly set it down. And using that exhale to go deeper. No pinching in the lower back, keeping the abs tight to protect your spine. You can also squeeze that right leg in toward the middle. So if you want, you can untuck that back foot and squeeze the right leg in toward the middle. It's not going to move much. It's moving just a little bit, but squeezing in toward the middle is going to help you stretch the right hip a little bit more. It's also going to help engage that inner thigh. We got 3 more breaths here, and let's bring the arms up for this last 3 so we can start to open up the shoulders too. Using that exhale to work deeper. Ribs lifting up away from the hips. Abs tightening. One more breath here. All right. Let's go ahead and stand up. So we've got we've got the hips nice and open, the hip flexors. These are the muscles that tend to get the tightest. So let's go through some twists now. And for that, I want you to grab a block. You're going to put the block between your thighs. This is going to help stabilize your hips and your core, so we can focus on the twist and not have to worry about keeping your hips in alignment as much. So block's going to go between your legs. And you want to squeeze that block tightly between the thighs. Push down through your feet, pushing down through the heels, pushing down through the toes. Now we also want to make sure that we're not leaning forward here. Some tendency is when we stand up, kind of lean forward toward the toes. So I want you to lean your hips back so they're right above your heels, and you'll feel that shift the weight of your body into your core as opposed to in the lower back. Now from here we're going to do a few twists. You're going to bring your arms straight up, and then as you exhale, you're going to bring your left arm forward and your right hand toward the back, but keep your hips facing straight forward. So it helps to look straight forward for now. Keep your hips facing straight forward. Your arms are reaching in opposite directions. Again, right hand toward the back, left hand forward. Still squeezing your legs toward one another. Still pressing down through the feet. Still keeping the hips level. And now that we know that we've got the hips level, but we're twisting through the spine, let's complete the twist. So now you'll look all the way over to the right. Now I've got to twist all the way from the lower back up through your neck, right? Your total spine. We're pressing the arms in opposite directions, squeezing the right arm back, making sure that that left hip pulls back so we're not twisting our hips to face slightly toward the right, but keeping them facing straight forward. The block squeeze in between the thighs is going to help you keep your abs tight. And we're breathing. So inhaling to come up, exhaling to twist a little deeper. All right, let's switch sides. So thanks for joining me for this workout today. Make sure you subscribe. We put out lots of videos like this on a very regular basis. And to get full access to all of my workouts, my programs, tutorials, and more, head to manfulyoga.com, sign up for a 7-day trial. It's just $1. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video.